Okay, I'm taking the SAT soon, the skate aptitude test, and that's a hockey puck there. Then this is the old Thermablade for history. Working on the merit badge for that. And this is the battery pack. The battery pack is actually dead on this one, but this has got replacement aftermarket as a DS60 2540. What that means is 60 millimeters long, 25 millimeters wide, and it's 4 millimeters, I believe, for each pack. So it's got two packs. That's what's a 2S. So instead of being 3.7 volts, it's 7.4 volts. And that's a 500 milliampere hours. I think the newer ones today are closer to 600. This is a couple years old. And it's got a connector here. Sometimes they use these on drones and stuff, and here's the little connectors you can use. And on the Thermablade, the heated blade, they actually this drops down inside here. It's a real tight fit. And it ties in to the wiring down in there. You can take the blade off with the screw here, which I've got out already, and then charge it with this is positive to that piece there is negative. And that's the heated blade. Then you touch across here to turn this on. So anyways, I've got one of these hooked up over here. Here's the size of this battery pack laid to a puck. See the 25 millimeters? The puck is 1 inch, 25.4 by 3. And so here's how big that is versus a regulation puck. And it's a lithium poly battery. That's 2 batteries in series. So I've got it here hooked up to a Kikasui regulated power supply, a PAS 2036, 20 volts, 36 amps. And I've got this hooked up here, right here. And we'll kick it on. And I'm keeping the current at only 50 mils, which is 1/10 of the milliampere output. Milliampere hours is the capacity. So if you multiply, that's a half an ampere hour times 7.4, it'd be 3.2 watt hours. So it's kind of conservative to charge a battery at 1/10 of the capacity. So this is 0.05 amps for a 0.5 amp battery. Now if I increase the current some here, hit the current button, I can go up here to, let's go to 1/10 of an amp. It'll charge it a little bit quicker. Also heat the battery up if you go too much. So I don't really know. I think they use these things on drones and stuff. But I'm going to go down here to kick this down to 50. The last video I just did earlier today, the battery really wasn't drawing anything. I think I had it around 8.5 volts. I'll go here to voltage. It's in constant current now. It's going to draw 2 amps. I got to be careful. I'm going to have this thing explode in my face. So I don't really want to do that. So there's the battery pack. The ones on pretty much all these Thermablades, all ones I've fooled around with just for kicks, they've been all swollen up to where you can barely get them out of there. So the pack physically is fat because it's screwed up. These are some aftermarket ones I've just bought to play around with. Again, the 2S means there's 2 packs fit together. When you buy these things, a lot of times they're old, even though they say they're new. They may not be able to fit in here when you want to fit it into something like this or something else, because sometimes the don't necessarily put the wrap on these to fit in a tight OEM application like this. It's just got some type of goop around here. It almost feels like RTV. That's about it. There's the blades, never been sharpened. That's a 263R holder. And the offset on this is kind of screwball. When I went over here and checked this versus a CCM, it's like it doesn't really want to fit on a pair of skates I got. So I don't know if these are warped with time or what the deal is. This blade's actually been pulled out. You can see here. And I can pull the blade out right here. And let's let the blade flop. That's actually the heater right there. The black line. And that gizmo is the thermistor plus the control circuit. And on either side of that contact right there is what grabs when you pop the skate back in. And then right here there's a piece of plavy that's missing to where it grabs the, that's actually the tightening piece that pulls up. It's got a piece that goes in there with the nut part of the screw. And I've got that in another place. So this blade's actually a custom blade in the sense they molded that with this plastic on there and with the heater piece. That's the control part. So if you just power this up from positive here to the negative here, this is not going to run the heater until this whole blade drops down to like 3 or 4 degrees C. So if you put this in a freezer and you get it cold, then you hook this up to a power supply and connect positive here and then negative up to this wire. I believe it'll charge like, yeah, maybe I've got this wrong here. I think that's the, that's positive there. So I'm wrong here. First mistake of the day. Anyways, the blade here is positive, and this hooks up to here, and that's why I've got this marked positive. And the negative side here hooks up onto the battery. And that goes back up and connects to the contact on the outside. So this will not power this heater black line there until this whole assembly is dropped down like 3 or 4 degrees C, a little bit above freezing. And then it'll turn the heater on to heat the blade up. So the previous test I did a couple years ago, I want to say it drew like 40 mils before the heater was kicked on, and like 0.4 of an amp once it was on. And there's the blade there. It's never been sharpened. So it's a proprietary blade, I'm fairly sure, because the way it fits in there. Regular 3mm thickness. And here's the battery back again. Pretty much all the used ones I've gotten, the batteries have been swollen. So the purpose is documenting this in case somebody else wants to play around with one of these Thermablades in the future. Okay, there's the bottom end of the skate holder. And right there, those 2 little contacts there are what grab either side of this on the circuit board. One is hooking to the positive, which connects up to the skate blade when it's used for charging with the original system. The other one hooks up to the battery. So if you ohm out between those two contacts, one of them will directly connect up to, I think one of them hooks up to the black wire, which is the negative there. So the battery hooks up to those two. I've actually fished the battery out of there, but it's a tight squeeze. There's a battery right there.